and welcome aboard the Science Digest show. Today we are at the premises of the EPP Books Services, located on the second floor of the Legon City Mall, opposite the old Legon main entrance, just behind the Ghana Commercial Bank at Legon. And today is a very wonderful time at the premises. You can see medical books here on the shelf at display. Come to the bookshop. They have an eatery and a playground called New Zealand. You can eat here, you can have some meetings, and you can get books of various kinds, from law to journalism to publication to hairdressing to sewing. Any kind of book at all for both kids, adults, and every age of the sort. And today on the show we have an interesting guest. I call him Your Excellency. In fact, he is a colossus of information. He is a colossus for the youth. He is someone that we can look up to for future generations to be empowered. He looks up to the universe and looks up to the world, especially with Africa at heart. Today, we have someone, an old boy of Pope John's Secondary School, Pojoba. He was a science student and he's moved into diverse fields, including journalism. He's the CEO of A-League Consult and he runs a show called The John Appiah Show. And he's the CEO or the director of the Koforidua Clinic. He's an ambidextrous guy and he does a lot of things within a short time. In fact, he also is punctual and keeps to time. Today he was here even before his host. Thank you for having us. I'm being produced by an executive crew from SMC Consult, So Much for Christ, and also by Pandit Photography and Therapics. We are also proudly sponsored by Advocate Healthcare, located at Lakeside Estate, opposite the Sweden Ghana Medical Center. Trust Advocate for all your health needs and dental needs. They have a special dental lab that serves Accra and even Nigeria, the whole of Ghana as well. Also, we are being sponsored by Meditouch Physiotherapy, located opposite the Women's World Bank at Tema, and it's in the same building with Rabito Clinic. We are also sponsored by Professional Bread Makers, PBM Bread, and lastly, we are brought to you by Brainwork Educational Consult. Trust Brainwork for all your educational needs for your kids and even tertiary students. Now, you can catch us on social media at SMC Consult on Instagram, SMC Consult on Instagram, and on YouTube at the Science Digest Show. Science Digest Show. Yeah, fiko. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much.
Having us on this show, huh?
I'm happy to be here.
Okay. All right. So, who is His Excellency John Appiah?
That's a very big title, and I know the politicians will come after me.
Oh, they should come. Truth is truth.
That's right. But I'm a young man that started off in the sciences.
Okay.
I grew up with a dad who was a medical doctor.
Okay.
So at that young age, my ambition was to become a medical doctor.
Okay.
So of course, as it was, I had to go to school to read science. So like you rightly said in the introduction, I went to Pope John's. I was a science student when I was in Pope John's. Then after completion, I applied for the medical school and I wasn't given admission that year. And that changed a lot of things about my life, because then I realized that there was more to life beyond just the medical sciences, right? So that's how come I started off, interested in people, how to empower people, how to help people to grow, how to help people to do better. In fact, what happened was that whilst staying home without going to the university for the first year after the secondary school education, I taught in a school, so I was a pupil teacher. And that's why I developed a passion for people and for empowering people. So subsequently, I went to the University of Ghana, but not to read medical sciences, but to do political science, sociology, history, and philosophy.
Wow.
And that's
political science,
sociology, history, and philosophy. At that time, level 100, you had to do like 4 subjects.
Okay.
So those were the 4 subjects. But I ended up just doing political science and sociology at my final year. I did a combined major.
Okay.
Yeah. Then I did my national service again as a teacher. And then I went into the corporate world. I worked with a company called Into IT, which is an IT firm, one of the very prominent IT firms here in Ghana. It is still operational and functional.
Wow. Shout outs to Into IT.
And I was a customer service manager at that point. So
okay.
it also had to do with my passion for people, interacting with people, and getting to know people. So I did that for about a year or so. Then I decided to go back to school to read a master's in communication studies.
Okay, Masters in Communication Studies.
Exactly.
Tell us more about it.
Well, so I had a lot of people come to me all the time to say, John, we think you speak well, we think you are very good with engaging people. Why don't you go to the communication school to do something in public relations? So I went to the University of Ghana School of Communication Studies, and there I studied communication studies that include public relations, journalism, and then advertising. But eventually, my first job after the master's degree was in a media house, Joy FM. I worked as a producer on Joy FM for close to about 2 years before I moved on to the British High Commission as a communications officer there. And then I moved on to Invest in Africa as a marketing manager. Then I went back to TV3 as a presenter on TV3, wow. And eventually I started my own business, and this is where I am.
Wow, just a media need the offer. Wow, I know I've seen pictures of you with the late Komladumo, yes. With the current Minister for Information.
Yes.
All your compatriots.
Yes, so at that point when I started Joy FM, Komladumo was not working with Joy FM, he was at BBC.
Okay.
But growing up, he was somebody that I looked up to for inspiration. Okay. So it happened that whilst I was working at Joy, he had come to Ghana to moderate a program at Accra or something like that. So he passed through the studios to have an engagement with all of us there, and I happened to have met him, and I got to speak to him.
A dream come true.
Exactly, I took a picture with him as well. Yes. And Opon Kuma, Honorable Opon Kuma, who's now the Minister of Information, as at that time when I was working at Joy FM on the morning show, he was the substantive host of the morning show.
Oh, okay.
So I worked closely with him. Exactly, and then we used to run a project called the Read 100 project, that is to empower young people to read. And I'm happy today we're in a library, because what we felt
and a bookshop
as it were, what we felt to do at that time was to encourage young people to read and to take up the habit of reading. So those two areas were areas that allowed me to work very closely with the Honorable Minister for Information.
Wow, that's a nice one. My daddy has a saying which he taught me from childhood: reading maketh a man.
That's right.
He didn't talk about maybe German or any other thing, but reading maketh a man. And we also know that knowledge is power. So yes, so trust EPP for your books, diverse kinds of books. Yeah, wow. That's so tell us about your days in Pujuba.
Right. I mean, it was very exciting for me, because for me, I grew up in Koforidua, and I had always been daddy's boy, more or less. So having the opportunity to go to a secondary school, I was going to be far away from home, was a great experience for me. So I enjoyed my days in Pope John's, and at that time, because I was driven by the passion to become a medical doctor, I took special interest in biology. Oh, okay. So it was no wonder at a point my friends used to call me Lord Bio.
Lord Bio.
Because there was nothing in biology.
Lord Bio.
There was nothing in biology you would ask me, and I wasn't able. Exactly.
Wow.
So all that, brings back fresh memories of when I went to school, the experience in school and all that.
Were you in any leadership role?
Yes, I was in the Scripture Union. I happened to be somebody that believed in the power of God and the power of God to change life. So I think at the second year I was made a counselor for the Scripture Union, and eventually I became the president of the Scripture Union, which for me at that point was very influential.
President of Scripture Union?
Yes, in Pope John's. In my year batch, I was the president of the Scripture Union. Yes.
So the leadership thing started way
back. In fact, I should say that through my primary, through GSS to secondary school, especially at the primary and the GSS level, at every class I was the class prefect.
Hey,
the only place I wasn't the class prefect was in class 5, when the teacher chose to appoint leaders. That was when I wasn't appointed as a leader. And even when graduating from GSS, I was a school prefect at that level. So leadership has, it came to me naturally. But now I've realized that it wasn't just for any reason. It was just to help me to better other leaders as well.
So when did you read your first manifesto?
Oh, well, that was at the GSS level when I went for the school prefect role. So I don't remember what I said, but I think it was convincing enough to get people to vote for me. Yes.
Do you have any, let's say, I'll call it political ambitions, any Ghanaian leader ambitions?
It is difficult now to declare your aspirations for leadership, because in Ghana, once you decide to go into politics, you are easily tagged. People see you in a particular way. People put you in a kind of a box. But the point is that I believe that all that I've been through is preparing me for a senior leadership role in Ghana that would help the nation to be better. So whatever form it will come, I'm ready to embrace it.
I think it's even beyond Africa.
I believe it was.
Wow. We'll go into A-League Consult and the other stuff. But before then, you were Lord Bio. So were you in the National Science and Math quiz team?
Yes. So that's a very interesting story. So when I was in Form 2, that was when they started training people to represent the school when they get to the final year. And it is good to know that in my year 2001, that was when Pope Jones won the National Science and Math quiz.
Wow.
Significant. I think that was the only time we won. But I'm hopeful that this year we may unseat all the other people. I know that's a controversial area. But it was during my year. Forget about
watching you like this.
We'll see how it goes. But it was during my SS time, my final year in the secondary school, that Pope Jones won the National Science and Math quiz. Now I represented Bowers House.
Okay.
You know, the selection process was through houses. So every house would go through a number of quizzes to select people to represent them, and then the final quiz, that's when the teachers selected people from the various houses. So as a matter of fact, I represented Bowers House, and I remember clearly that during all the stages, during the run up to the main one, there was never a contest that I was second.
Okay.
So I was really passionate, and I was inspired. Those days, Brilliant Science and Math Squad, to see them on TV and all that. So I was an active part of the Bowers House group.
Okay.
So when we were finally selected into the final group to represent the school, remember I said I was the scripture president?
Yeah.
And the master in charge of the Science and Math Quiz team at that time, Mr. Butu, was also the patron of the Scripture Union.
Okay.
And it so happened that during the time when we were supposed to go for the Science and Math Quiz, there was a National Leadership Conference on Presec campus. That was for Scripture Union, exactly. So I remember one day he called me to the lab and asked me, what do I want to do? Because then I was part of the Science and Math team squad and also the president of the Scripture Union.
How versatile you were.
Exactly. But then I had to take a decision. And I felt that, well, when it comes to issues of leadership, you don't play with it, you don't take it for granted. So I told him that, well, I want to concentrate on the Scripture Union and then represent the school at the National Leadership Conference together with my executives, because I knew that the squad we had were very competent, and even without me, they were definitely going to excel and do well. So that was the point when I decided to rather go to the National Leadership Training and then allow my colleagues to also pursue the Science and Maths.
That was not selfish or parochial of you
at all.
Which is a classic characteristic of a good leader.
That's right.
So thumbs up and a good
Thank
one.
you.
Shout outs to Mr. Butu.
Yes, the late Mr.
The
Butu.
late Mr. Butu.
Yes,
unfortunately.
yes.
To the family and everyone.
That's right.
All right. So can you tell us about your quiz team, the three who were on stage?
So I think the three main people that were on stage, in fact, I think there was about a team of about 6.
Okay.
But I remember clearly Eugene Bodi Dankwa.
Okay.
I think he's now a doctor in the engineering field, but he's based in the US.
Okay.
I remember I think Joseph Ofori. Yes, very sharp guy. I remember Collins Osekisi. I think he's a medical doctor now.
Okay, Dr. Collins Osekisi.
Exactly. And then I think I've forgotten that, but at least I remember. And then Dominic. There was another guy called Dominic. He's also a doctor now.
Okay.
Solid squad. Yeah.
Wow.
So it was a great squad, brilliant squad.
You once told me when in a car going somewhere, you told me about a riddle you answered.
Exactly.
Tell us about that riddle.
My elder sister was also a medical doctor.
Oh, interesting.
So whilst I was in the senior secondary school, when we were on holidays, I used to visit her at the medical. At that time, she was doing a housemanship or whatever they call it. So Akolebu.
Okay.
So from Koforidua to Accra, the first stop was Circle. And Circle was why I picked a Kolebu car to go to Kolebu.
Okay.
So Circle was something that was always in my mind because of the fact that a Kofta mother has come to Accra. His first point of arrival is the Circle bus stop, and then from there I moved to Kolebu. So during I think it was the main contest between the various houses, there was a riddle that the science quiz master at that time gave, and the first clue he gave was that I have a starting point but no end.
Okay, starting point but no end.
Then the second clue was that I'm a name of a very popular place in Accra. And at that time I had people who were raised in Accra, born and bred in Accra. I don't know what happened, but I think he escaped all of them. So immediately I hit the table, and then he called me John Appiah Bowers House, and I said Circle.
Wow.
Can you imagine the uproar in the room?
Wow.
That's one unforgettable experience I had, doing the science and maths quiz.
This one really made you more than a law by you.
I'm telling you.
Took you beyond by you to maths and physics.
Wow.
Congrats.
Yes.
Congrats. Wow. So tell us about Elite Consult John Appiah show.
All right. So the Elite Consult is a show that is to empower people, to train people, to give people the capacity to do whatever they are doing well and better. So what it is that we offer training, capacity building, skills enhancement for individuals, for organizations, and for businesses. Okay. We started operating in 2017. But fully in 2018, that's when we started operating fully. Usually as an entrepreneur, you start the idea in your bedroom until it gets to the point where you get to train other people and engage other people. So as of now, we've been able to organize a number of very significant interventions.
Yeah, I know you've been doing stuff at Legon.
Yes.
Camps and stuff
yes,
like that,
yes,
trainings.
Yes. That's right. And those are some of the things that really makes me excited. Because I remember in 2019, we staged the first National Youth Development Boot Camp which was targeted at senior high school graduates to
Okay.
empower them, to help them understand the world after senior secondary school, the options and the opportunities available for them. There was a 3-day camp meeting that had other people come to talk to the students. So we did something on digitization, the power of internet, social media. We have people from the fashion industry, medical doctors passing through, engineers, lawyers, and all those people just to engage with the kids to show them what the world really represents for them after secondary school. So that was one of the highlights of the work of the ALE Consult. And also we did the training for national service people as well. It was also
I remember, you did
yes,
that one.
yes. And I think that those are the key highlights of what we've done as the ALE Consult.
Wow. Tell our viewers about your social media handles or
Yes.
anything.
Okay, great. So when you go to Facebook and you search for ALE Consult, you find us active on the ALE Consult handle. It's also on Instagram and then on LinkedIn as well. You can always get to engage with us, and we'll be very happy to interact with you as well.
Okay. So now to the John Appiah show.
Yes. So the John Appiah show is a show that I came up with the intention of helping people to be better. All right. So from the ALE Consult, from our training, our capacity building, and all that, I realized that in the era of technology and social media, it's important to have a form of a show that focuses exclusively as to how people can empower themselves and people can be better people. So we started the John Appiah show as a show that will empower people, whether you're a science person, you're an arts person, a national service person, a student, whatever it is. We bring you a show that teaches you how to improve yourself. We teach you how to be better, how you can empower yourself to be able to achieve your dreams and objectives. So that's just what the John Appiah show has been about. Just at the point when we wanted to launch, we were hit by the COVID-19. So we went to the back bench a bit, trying to put our resources together. So we're still waiting for the appropriate time to actually launch the project. But it is something that we are very bent and determined to do. And I take inspiration from your show. Because we've had this conversation about this show, discussed it, and I'm happy to see that you have moved from the back bench to actually seeing this thing come to pass. And I'm very excited. Congratulations.
I also took a lot from you. You sharpened my iron.
That's right.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency,
You're
John Appiah. Is that why? Is it because of COVID? That's why you have your beard?
Yes. In fact, I
look
am
like Santa Claus.
Absolutely. I am an Afro person naturally, but the society sometimes has a way of looking at people in a certain lens, and I've always wanted to do this Afro thing, but always because of society and all. But I'm happy when COVID came in. Now it has given me the platform.
Thank you, COVID.
But very soon it is going away, so I'll be going to the barber very soon. Yes. But I'm enjoying it while
it's there.
Yes.
Wow. All right, so today on the show, we're going to talk about entrepreneurship of diverse kinds, entrepreneurship. And John Appiah is a seasoned person, no other person you can go to but John Appiah for this particular topic. So stick around and we'll be back in a minute. Viewers, welcome back to the Science Digest show from the quick commercial break. This show is brought to you by SMC Consult, so much for Christ. SMC Consult, to the ends of the world. And now we are also brought to you by EPP Book Services. You can see medical books here, legal books, paralegal books, hairdressing books, books on civil engineering, all kinds of engineering, biochemistry, law, hairdressing, sewing. They have an eatery and a playground called New Zealand. We are also sponsored by Brainwork Educational Consult, located at North Legon. We are also sponsored by Advocate Healthcare, opposite the Sweden Ghana Medical Center at Lakeside Estate. Trust Advocate Healthcare for all your medical and dental needs and all your dental laboratory prosthesis and prosthetics. We are also proudly sponsored by Meditouch Physiotherapy, located at Tema, opposite the Women's World Bank and in the same complex building with Rabito Clinic. We are produced in addition by Pandit Photography and Therapics, located at Santa Maria. Trust professional bread makers for all your bread needs. Anything bakery, trust professional bread makers. PBM, located at North Legon. Any kind of meeting, any kind of breakfast, lunch kind of food that you want to have or brunch, trust PBM. We are back on the show with a Pujoba, Vela Damus. We set what?
Sale.
We set sale.
That's
Wow.
right.
Why are you setting the sale to?
To the ends of the world.
Interesting.
Yeah.
No wonder he has launched the A-League Consult and the John Appiah Show. So they are setting sail.
That's right.
Today, he's a colossus and a deep one indeed for entrepreneurship. So we want to launch in on entrepreneurship, and he'll do justice to that for us. All right. John Appiah, please, what is entrepreneurship? Who's an entrepreneur?
Great. Very, very good question. And I think that the subject of entrepreneurship is something that has been spoken about. People have expressed themselves about it. We have lots of books on the subject of entrepreneurship. So I will not attempt an academic definition. Okay. What I will attempt to do is a practical experience to try and then explain what entrepreneurship is. Yeah. You know, conventionally, the idea is that for you to be an entrepreneur, you should necessarily start a business.
Okay.
But I've come to realize that it is not all the time that you need to start a business. So let me use my case as an example. My dad started a clinic as far back as 1981, a medical clinic.
Wow, 81.
1981. I wasn't even born by then.
Where?
In Koforidua.
Okay.
All right. And he's been running that facility for as long as I've been alive.
Okay.
All right. Now, this is the case where he passed on, and then somebody had to step in to run the clinic. So I assumed, leadership in the clinic. Now, what it is that even though I didn't start the clinic, I am now the person running the clinic. So what I believe entrepreneurship is, it's not only restricted to the first generation entrepreneurs. Those are the people that actually set up businesses.
Okay, the precursors, those who start the business. Okay, those are the first generation.
Exactly. But there are also another level of entrepreneurs who may not necessarily be the people to start, but then they inherit the business, or they take over the reins of the business, and they move the business to the next level. All right. So entrepreneurship, in my point of view, is not just about starting a business, but anybody who has ultimate responsibility for any business, in my opinion, is an entrepreneur.
Wow.
Okay.
Can I take that again?
Yeah. So anybody that runs a business and has ultimate responsibility for the business, in my opinion, is an entrepreneur. Let me push it further, because the organizations that you can be a CEO of, but not necessarily be the entrepreneur running the business. But even at that level, you need a certain level of entrepreneurship, that entrepreneurial mindset, to be able to run your job very well. But for those class of people that actually call the final shot, so for example, we can decide that SMC Consult, we have ended it. We don't want to do anything with that. That's your business, because you're the one that started it. You have the ultimate responsibility. You can decide that, okay, from next year, you go into bread making. It is your ultimate decision to do that. But if you are hired as a CEO to work for an organization, that decisions of such grave nature, it doesn't lie only in your perspective or only in your domain. All right. So by entrepreneurs, we mean the people that ultimately call the shots in the businesses. So they are CEOs, they are managing directors, no problem about that. But the point I'm making is that for those who have taken over the reins of the business and therefore can decide that, okay, we are no longer running the business again, or we are moving into another level of business and all that without any problems at all, then you can call yourself an entrepreneur. Okay. And again, there are levels and classes. You can start a small business in your house and be the entrepreneur in your house. Someone can have a multi-dimensional business across several continents, and the person is still an entrepreneur. So we shouldn't always see an entrepreneur as a person that runs a big business and all that. You can start from a point, make impact at that level, and then your business may transition. It's also possible your business may never see the light of day. All these things happens when it comes to entrepreneurship. But the ultimate thing is that you are the one solely responsible for the business. You are the one that calls the final shots in that business. When you get into that level or that position, I think you can call yourself an entrepreneur.
Wow. You heard it right from the masterpiece himself. This is a masterclass on entrepreneurship. He says that the one who has the ultimate shots to call a business, to run it, and to progress it is the entrepreneur. You heard it from John Appiah, 2020, on the Science Digest show.
That's right.
Good one there. All right. To call the shots in a business, to run the business, to progress the business, to sustain it, of course, will not be easy.
At all.
What qualities should you have?
At all. And again, I like to use my practical experience to throw more light on it. And then always have at the back of your mind that there's always the theory and the book part, which is good. But it is sometimes different from what is actually on the ground. All right. So, for example, the definition I attempted to make of entrepreneurship, I know can be contested on several grounds by entrepreneurs or by professors. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But that's my opinion, and that's what I think.
Which holds water, actually.
Exactly. Depending on what it is that I've gone through, that is how I would want to classify that. Now, in terms of qualities, I have learned that there are several qualities you need to be able to run a business in order to call yourself a competent entrepreneur. And I think that amongst the many characteristics, the first thing you need is that you need to be strong. And by being strong, I'm not talking about physical strength.
Not as strong as Samson.
No, not as strong as Samson, all right? But looking at the mental fortitude,
okay,
all right? That kind of mindset to be able to go through the process, because it's a very difficult process.
Okay.
It's a very lonely process. It is hit with a lot of disappointments, a lot of downs more than the ups. There may be ups, but several downs as compared to the number of ups. So if you're not a strong-minded person, a strong-willed person, a determined person, it may be difficult for you to carry through on entrepreneurship. Unlike when you work for somebody, you can decide to quit, you can decide to resign, you can decide to move into another business or move into another organization. But if you own the business yourself and you are the one ultimately responsible for the business prospects and all that, then you have to be very strong, because it's not an easy journey. It is a very complex and difficult journey. So I think that the number one thing you need is strength, fortitude, all right? Now in that strength as well, apart from the mental strength you need, that kind of psychological strength to be able to withstand the difficulties, I think you also need a certain level of intelligence, especially in the area you want to enter into. So take my instance, for example. I'm not trained a medical person, but I'm now running a medical facility. Now it is necessary for me to learn as much as I can on the medical world, on the medical field. Not to become a doctor or a lab technician or a nurse, but just to understand the business of running a medical center.
The nitty-gritties and the basics.
Absolutely, all right. So that's also important. You need to build a certain level of intelligence in your area of business. So if you decide to do bakery or bread, you may not be a baker yourself, you may not be a caterer, but at least you can learn something about the industry. Because what I've realized is that when you get to work with people, when they get to know you don't have knowledge on some of these things, they can always run around you and take advantage of you. But when they know you're on top of your business, you understand the things you are doing and the decisions you are making, people fall in line, and it's easier to be able to lead people to the expected place. So you have to have strength, you need to have a certain level of intelligence in the thing that you are doing. And then number three, you need to find the right people to work with. You can never do everything on your own. So one of the good qualities you need is that you should be a people's person who's able to identify the right kinds of people and you're able to work with people to achieve your objective. Let me just limit it to these three major characteristics.
Wow, a people's person who is able to roll or identify with people and move with people to achieve a goal.
That's right.
Wow. And then mental fortitude or strength.
That's right.
Mental power.
Because it's a difficult journey.
It's a difficult journey with a lot of turbulence, right?
Absolutely.
Wow.
And then a certain level of intelligence in your area of business.
Okay.
Very important.
Okay. Can you give us any turbulence personally you had?
So let me start with the clinic that I'm running. Like I indicated, it was my dad that started the business.
Okay.
And there were people that were actually working in the business before I was born. Okay. So when I took over leadership, change is a very difficult process. So first of all, there was the perception that there was no way I could run the facility, because conventionally people think that to run a medical facility, you should be a medical doctor, all right? But that was one of the major hurdles I had to deal with. The second hurdle I had to deal with was with the fact that people were used to the way things were done. Okay. So for me to come in with different innovative ways of doing things, I met a lot of resistance. There were things that people would tell me in the face that was not how your father used to run it, so therefore we want to do it the way we used to do it. But as a leader, like I said, as an entrepreneur, you have to be strong. You have to be able to stand on your feet and then go in a particular direction that will help the cause of the business. So secondly, one of the challenges I faced was people resisting the new ideas that I came up with and all that. But ultimately now, looking back 2 years after taking over the business, they have all fallen in line. People have now come to appreciate the fact that what I'm doing is something that's going to help the business to improve and get to the next level. So those were two major turbulent areas I was faced when I took over running the clinic. For the A-League consult, one of the major challenges I had was for people to actually accept me as capable of running trainings for them. Because if you go to any organization, they ask you what experience you have, what organizations have you ever trained before. But again, it's a matter of time. You need to be able to prove and show over time that you are capable of running the business, and people will allow you to help them and to support them as well.
So people need to know your content, what you are made up of.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So with your challenges, I picked one characteristic which I may also think, which I think leaders should have, or maybe entrepreneurs should have to that effect, which is being visionary.
That's right.
Or having a vision. So could you juxtapose or compare entrepreneurship and vision?
All right. Very, very important. I think that an entrepreneur should be a visionary person. By visionary, you should be able to stay in the present and project into the future, come back into the present to work out the modalities to get into the future.
Wow. Take that again.
So as a visionary leader, as an entrepreneur with a high sense of vision, one of the things you should be able to do is that staying in the present, you should be able to project into the future and then come back into the present to work out the strategies and the modalities to get into the future.
Wow.
That is all what vision is about. And if you are very observant, you realize that most of the significant leaders in entrepreneurship who have made a mark in our world are people that were able to see the future. Not only see the future, but they were able to come back into the present and develop strategies and work with procedures and other things to be able to see that kind of future they envisage. So for example, I'm sure at a point when people decided to go into something like the laptop, it was something that was unheard of because desktop was the ish. It was whatever, exactly. But for somebody to have gone into the future and realized that I would want to carry my computer around and therefore it would be easier to have something portable that I can hold. Imagine that person coming back into the present to convince people that this is where we want to go. Of course, there were challenges, exactly. But you see, those were the people that changed the world. The people that saw the future, came back to the present, and put things together to see the vision realized. Yeah.
So, in a nutshell, the entrepreneur or a good leader lives in two time tenses: the present and the future. Lives in the future, comes back to the present, works on the procedures, the legalities, modalities, and processes, and moves us into the future and makes the future present. Wow. John Appiah for you. I told you, rich content, rich guy, deep guy, Your Excellency himself. Wow. So with everything you've said, what will be the challenges of the 21st century entrepreneur or an entrepreneur?
Great. So I'll talk about 5 main challenges. The first one I'll talk about is human resource management. Okay. From my experience and the work I have done in the field, I've realized that the major challenge an entrepreneur will have is managing the people he or she works with. So you need to first identify the right people. After identifying the right people, you need to be able to work with them. You need to be able to harness the potentials they have to help you achieve your objectives. So I think that human resource is a very important part. It's a very important challenge that every entrepreneur will have to deal with. Your ability to identify the right people to work with and your ability to manage the people you work with. Because managing people is difficult. The egos, people's way of doing things and seeing things, the difficulties, the emotional complexes that people have and all that. But as an entrepreneur, one of your strong areas you need to work on is how to handle people. So human resource management. The second thing I'll talk about is financial management. You know, typically when you talk about entrepreneurs, people think about money. When you talk of entrepreneurship, they think of people that flying business class, people driving Mercedes-Benz and all those things. But I think that the core of entrepreneurship is financial management, your cash flow, how to understand what the cash flow system is, how to manage the resources that comes to you, what goes into paying utilities, what goes into paying your human resource, what goes into investing in the business. You need to have a certain level of understanding in financial management. And I think that that's the point where a lot of entrepreneurs fail. They have brilliant ideas, but they don't seem to concern themselves with financial management. But I think that that's a major challenge that we have to overcome, financial management. The other kind of challenge I see happening, especially in this century, is your business development.
Okay.
Business development management, very important. So you take your business from one level to another level. You expand your business. You introduce new concepts into it. Not all the time, but the point is that you should be able to grow your business. So assuming, let's say EPP was just servicing people in Legon or the people around Accra, to grow the business beyond even these confines is a very important part of business development, all right? And to even add other things, like for example, there's an eatery, there's also a playground that children can come and play and all that. All these things comes with business development. So they may be the original idea, but what else can you do to add to that original idea that will improve your profit margin and that will also bring you a new stream of income? So I think that business development management is the third challenge that a lot of entrepreneurs will have to overcome. Now the other thing is about branding. Branding is a very important thing. How you position your business, how people see and perceive your business. And this era where social media is almost everything, you need to be able to situate yourself in that context to be able to market your business to the point where you build an identity and a brand for yourself. And I think that even in that, an entrepreneur should be intricately involved. The design of your logo, you may not be the person to design, but you should have that idea, that idea of how you want that thing to become. the colors you use in your organization, all those things come together to build a formidable brand. And don't forget that as an entrepreneur, you're an integral part of your business brand. You cannot talk of Facebook without Mark Zuckerberg. You cannot talk of SMC Consult without you. In the same way, whatever business you're running, you need to become an integral part of it, even in terms of the branding. So your personal brand will influence the business brand. So you need to have that at the back of your mind. And the final challenge I'll talk about is time management. Because it appears you will be doing a lot of things all the time, but as a good entrepreneur, you should be able to manage your time well, to be able to have time for yourself, and to also be able to grow. So not only does your business grow, but you also position in a way to grow yourself and become a better person.
Wow, 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 wow. So as a business person or an entrepreneur, you're an integral part of your business and your entrepreneurship and everything that you are doing. Wow. So we've learned about the challenges here, and don't forget that all these challenges can be overcome with discipline, with the fortitude, and everything of the qualities that he spoke about early on. All right, stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Science Digest Show. Today we've learned a lot with His Excellency John Appiah. He is the CEO of Elite Consult, the Executive Director or Manager of Koforidua Clinic, and he also runs a show known as the John Appiah Show. Science Digest Show is brought to you by SMC Consult, So Much for Christ, professional bread makers, PBM, located at North Legon. Trust them for all your bread and bakery needs. We are also brought to you by Brainwork Educational Consult, located at North Legon. Advocate Healthcare for all your medical and dental needs, and prosthetics. Trust Advocate Healthcare, opposite the Sweden Ghana Medical Center. We are proudly sponsored by EPP Book Services, located on the second floor of the high-rise building opposite the Legon entrance. That is the Legon City Mall, behind the Ghana Commercial Bank when you are coming from Accra towards Medina. We are also proudly supported and assisted by Meditouch Physiotherapy, located at Tema, opposite the Women's World Bank, and in the same complex building with Rabito Clinic. Yeah. Okay. We are also proudly supported by Unique Cost Limited, located opposite the Total Filling Station at Adenta Ritz Junction. Unique Cost Limited deals with all your plumbing needs, from PVC pipes to tiles to everything. Trust Unique Cost Limited. Their number is 0244 599 951. That is 0244 599 951. Or you can reach them on a Airtel Tigo number 0270 0270 203 331. 0270 203 331. They have things from Interplast, Nexans, electricals, wholesale, and plastic stuff of TNG and tiles and everything. Trust Unique Cost for everything you need. Everything building, trust Unique Cost Limited. The cost is actually unique, and I hope you understand that. Get your fingers dialing the number now and hit the numbers for all your needs. Thank you very much. SMC Consult, you can reach us on 054 859 3815. So Much for Christ, SMC Consult, So Much for Christ. We are reached on the number 054 859 3815. So, cherished viewers, before we end up the show or we bring it to a gist and a wrap up, we were hit by something so sudden and the whole world was taken aback, which is the coronavirus pandemic or COVID-19. And this caused a whole lot of businesses and economic hardship in the whole world to come to a grinding halt. John Appiah, COVID-19 and entrepreneurship.
In fact, it's one of the things that has made a lot of impact on the business world. And talking from my point of view as a businessman and entrepreneur, three main areas come into focus for me. The first one is human resource. Now, we realize as business people that we have to start operating a model of working from home, and only the essential people were going to the office to work. Not essential as in the health services, but as in the people in the office that play very key roles that they had to come to the office to work. Now, with that happening, for some of us, we realized that indeed there were some people who were in our businesses who were not profitable, who were not productive, who were not really adding value to us. Because what it is that this pandemic has exposed another dimension to human resource management. So from that angle, there's something that businesses can profit from, in the sense that now we're able to zoom in as to the key people who are really important for running our businesses and to keep our businesses running. Even in that, it's an advantage for those who may have lost their employment, because then you begin to realize that you need to refocus your energies and your skills. Because if before this you were very happy working around in your business or office and getting paid at the end of the month, now that COVID has hit, we have come to take a critical look at to exactly what you bring to the table. So for the businessman, it's a gain in the sense that you are able to identify the people that you really need to work. But for you as an employee that may have lost your job, it's an opportunity for you to refocus and then build yourself better. And the value of personal development that we keep saying comes to bear, because now people are realizing that if you are not really functional at work, if you don't have anything extra from your competitors, from the other people in your department, when it comes to firing, you may be the most likely person to go. So on human resource, the COVID-19 has made an impact. Technology. For most businesses that were not so much interested in technology and social media, because of the impact of COVID-19, it has drawn our attention to the fact that we need to look at how we can use technology to do business. So for me, that's a plus that we can talk about. And then finally, financial management, in the sense that we realized that the inflows that were coming in, the cash flow was short-circuited, in the sense that maybe the number of customers we used to have, we don't have those customers again. So how do we manage our cash flow? How do we manage our limited financial resources that comes to us? That has also taught business people and entrepreneurs how to be better handlers of finances. So in my opinion, these are the three core areas that was impacted by the COVID-19. And as a businessman, I want to look at it from the positive point of view. So in human resource, how it has helped us to be able to identify key and essential people we need to work with. Number two, in terms of even technology, it has exposed us to new technology. Something like the Zoom meetings. There were things that conventionally I wasn't even bothered about, but now, because of the impact of COVID-19, we have come to take advantage of technologies like that. And again, financial management, because now it's about saving as much as you can to ensure your business is sustainable.
Wow, that's interesting and a nice one there. In fact, when the pandemic really hit and other countries were really suffering that much, I started thinking whether the virus was going to take over the whole world, the human species was going to be eradicated completely. But we thank God for technology, for Zoom, we thank God for Google Meet, other technologies that are there. So this is a chance for all startups to amplify what they can do, brainstorm a lot, and know how to do things, and also work on your personal development skills and abilities and content, as His Excellency John Appiah just said. Wow. So to end it all, what would you say about such opportunities in the COVID era?
I think that there's a lot of opportunities for us. For most people, one of the things they have learned is to learn on their own, is to learn how they can on their own improve themselves and make themselves better. And I think that is the greatest advantage COVID-19 has brought to us, because people have now realized that you can sit in the comfort of your home and do courses and learn and study and watch videos and improve yourself and become a better person. So that's a major advantage that has come to the human race. And then secondly, it has drawn our attention to the fact that we need to take our basic health issues seriously. Because conventionally, some of us were only bothered about the money, but now realize that if you're not in good health, it will be difficult to even make money. So that's another thing that has come as an advantage to us. So even in this era that where people are still not sure what is going to happen, in Ghana, for example, through the leadership of our president, we have clearly seen the fact that Ghana is opening up again to business. Things are coming back to normal. But even though they are coming back to normal, we don't have to behave normally, in the sense that we still have to maintain our protocols, make sure the health safety protocols are adhered to and all that. Even thinking of how to do business and improve our businesses, we need to keep our health in focus, and I think that that's very important.
Wow, that's a nice one there to entrench on, which is the fact that we have to still adhere strictly to the COVID-19 safety protocols to keep you and I safe and to keep the world a better place and heal our world. All right, so what will be your concluding words for us after a nice time with you on entrepreneurship?
Yes. I think what I would end on is the fact that irrespective of what it is you are doing, whether you're doing science, you are doing general arts, but because this is a Science Digest show, I want to specifically speak to students or people that are in the science-related areas, that this is an opportunity for you to better yourself, an opportunity for you to pursue your dreams and your aspirations. In fact, working in business, I've realized that there's a close relationship between science and business. Whether it's technology, whatever it is, there's a relationship between science and business. So we need to make sure that we all put our eggs in the basket, we work together, and I'm sure we can make this country a better place.
Wow, thank you. I want you to give some shout outs to some people on your heart.
Basically, for all the people I work with in Koforidua Clinic, thank you for your support for Koforidua Clinic. For the people I work with in the A-League Consult, and for the businesses and organizations that have given us the trust to work with them, we appreciate your support. And to every other person who's watching the Science Digest show, let's make this show big. It focuses on science and how we can make the best out of science. And a shout out to yourself.
Oh.
You're a great man, and I'm happy I have this platform.
You've been a mentor to me, a big one, of course. A big one, of course. So we'll be wrapping up saying that Science Digest show, yeah, yam no coffee. See you another time. Bye.